episode 5 of Hawkeye should be called the Yelena episode because that's all we got. We got a ton of Yelena and I am loving it. I thought this episode was by far the best one yet. But before I tell you why it was the best one yet, consider this your spoiler warning because I will be talking spoiler-ish. So let's get on with the review. But before I get on with the review, hey, another theory that I provided comes true, even though now we are 2 for 10, but I'll take the win. We found out that Kate's mom is up to some, let's just say, no good. And we finally got introduced in a blurry image to Kingpin. This should be exciting. And on the heels of tomorrow here in Las Vegas, I am going to see Spider-Man No Way Home, and it's fitting that we should get introduced to Kingpin. And I have a nagging suspicion they did this for a reason, but I'll find out tomorrow when I see the movie. So a whole lot of Spider-Man mixed in with this. Basically, like I said, Yelena. Even though I think that's the way it's pronounced, Yelena. I don't know why I keep on saying Yelena. I think that's just my Hispanic and Mexican background that just happens to want to say it the way I read it. But anyways, I thought that opening scene where we catch up with Yelena right before the snap, right before Thanos accomplishes his mission. And oh my God, I love that scene. I had to rewind it 3 times just to get the full impact, even though it's short and it might have not had to take 3 times to look at it. But I just wanted to make sure that I wasn't missing anything, even though it kind of begged the question as to when Peter Parker gets brought back in Endgame, he has some kind of recollection that he was somewhere else because he said, oh, he snapped, he went away, and then Doctor Strange was there, and that all of a sudden Doctor Strange, hey, Tony needs us and let's go back in. So yeah, it felt like 5 seconds, like Yelena said, but in Peter's recollection, it was a little bit different. But whatever, I'm there for it. Now, before she got snapped, we are caught up to what Yelena has been doing, which is basically going and finding other Black Widows and breaking them out of their hypnosis, out of their control, basically with what she said at the end of the Black Widow movie. So they tied it in. It was so good, at least for my taste. Some people might be like, oh, that's too soon. They should have done more. They should have dwelled back. Well, hey, it's not her show. This is Hawkeye's show. And they weren't going to dive in. They just wanted to introduce her and bring her more into the MCU. And I thought it was really, really nicely done. I like the fact that she got a new vest after the vest that she gave to Black Widow. And I was like, oh, dope. You know, she got a new vest. And the fight scene, though, with the other Black Widow was kind of weak, even though we found out that she was not under the control. She just happened to do a lot of missions and ended up kind of, you know, in love with the money and found herself a rich man and found herself and built herself a nice little life, which I thought was great because their reaction, her and the other Black Widow that was with Yelena, I thought was great. Their reaction like, oh, you meant to do this? And she's like, yeah, that's all I know how to do, and this is what I did, so why wouldn't I take advantage of it? I thought that was great. Again, the blimp scene or the snap scene was just so awesome to see. And I've been saying this in videos, and I've been saying this kind of thing in other groups that I joined to just kind of be in the conversation of the MCU. Even though they don't want to believe it, everybody's saying, oh, they're not focusing. Everyone is focusing on the blimp or the snap. They're going back to that and tying this whole phase 4 to the snap. And there's been many people saying no. Even when I was saying it in WandaVision, when I said it in Loki, when I said it a little bit in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and in several of the movies that we'd already saw, Eternal, Shang-Chi, and now here with Hawkeye. And I will push all my money in that they're gonna tie it in more to Spider-Man No Way Home, but that's going to be the jumping off point to some epicness next year. I cannot wait for the shows coming up, but not even that. I think 2021 should be the show, the Disney Plus era, because the Disney Plus shows have been great way better than the movies. And I think in 2022, it's going to be the movies that are going to be so much better than the shows. Maybe I'll be wrong, but this year for sure, Disney Plus shows have above and beyond some of these movies, and with maybe not as much of the budget. So it's saying something to the great production value that the MCU is putting into these Disney Plus shows. But anyways, enough kissing the mouse's ass, right? I loved Yelena. She is so funny. When she was talking to Kate and they were in her old burnt down apartment, and how she was talking about the macaroni and how she loves, I was there. I love that whole freaking scene. She came off a little bit more cartoonish in that, but I think we got a sense of that in the Black Widow movie. And again, I loved it. I'm here for it. The fact that she's so charismatic, the actress that is playing Yelena, and the way she's portraying her sister, and how she's kind of like such a cold-hearted killer, kind of. Well, she's trained to be this assassin, but yet has such a nonchalant attitude about it. Was really, really funny. So we found out in that interaction between her and Kate that she is actually, I thought in my episode 4 review, I said that I don't think she was there to kill Clint, because she could have done it. She could have done it in the rooftop. Maybe there was too many characters, but I was wrong. We found out that Yelena was actually going to kill him. Now, I still do think that she knows something's up because of what we saw at the end of the episode, when she kind of texts Kate the information that she knows and tells her who actually hired her. But I thought it was like a shocker to me when she was like straight up like, I'm here in New York to kill Clint. That's it. And if you stand in my way, you're gonna get hurt. But I thought she came off a little bit like, oh, you know, when she was talking about like, oh, you don't know what he's done. You don't know the trail of blood that's behind him. And I get it that it's two different instances, you know, two different situations, because Clint went on his murder streak or whatever as Ronin after he lost his family. With Yelena, she did her killing under the control of the Red Room, as we found out in the Black Widow movie, but she has a lot of blood that follows her. So I thought it was kind of hypocritical for her to go down this self-righteous, you know, path with Kate, as far as telling her reasoning was, where she might not be aware of how many she killed, but she should know that goddamn well that she took a lot of lives, even though, you know, she wasn't in full control. You know, she was under the mind control of the Red Room, but still, she has a lot. So for her to go crazy, and I get it, she wants revenge for Natasha, but the same with Clint. He was having revenge for the fact that his family got snapped, like he told in that, he was telling that guy in that fight scene in Endgame when he says, oh, they got Thanos, you got me, and basically killed them. So I thought that was a little bit too much, but I get what they were going for. The speech that Hawkeye kind of, when he takes off his earpiece and he kind of, you know, wants to talk to Natasha one more time, and there's that plaque in New York honoring the Avengers. Oh, chef's kiss. Mwah. Love that part. I love the plaque. I love the speech where he's like, hey, forgive me for what I'm about to do. Obviously, he doesn't do what he was telling her he was going to do, but he's basically saying, hey, I need to take this out. I need to do this. Why? One question that I did have is, why did Clint know about the Kingpin and was always afraid of him and never mentioned it to any of the Avengers? I think the show has to clear that up, because that is a huge problem I see with this, because he was around some very strong Avengers, Captain America, Tony Stark, Black Panther, anyone. And there's so many in New York, right? Even Doctor Strange, that he could have gone to him and say, hey, there's this really bad person that I've known from way back. How long has he known about Kingpin? I think, and I hope we get the answers to that, because he seems to know, him and his wife seem to know who Kingpin is. Obviously, we know that he is a major player, a major villain in the Amazing Spider-Man comic book, animated series, wherever it is. Kingpin and Spider-Man are synonymous with each other, as much as the Green Goblin, the Hobgoblin, all those things. Like, they are just, you know, hand in hand. And they go together just like, you know, rice and beans, if you will. Probably the worst analogy ever, but... And And finally, the music that was being played, it scored very, very well. But maybe I'm wrong, but the score when she was talking to his wife, and probably even a little bit before then, I was so into the dialogue. But I caught myself listening to it, very mysterious. It felt very WandaVision, like that it had to be the same music in WandaVision as to what I was hearing there, because it had that same weird mysterious tone. And I was like, wait, why are they attaching this to WandaVision as far as the music wise? And I'm like, no, they can't introduce another element. This show is introducing so many different characters, so many different elements, and I am completely here for that. Now the shocker, the twist, where we hope, actually I should take that back about my theory that I posted a couple days, go check it out. But we found out that Kate's mom, Eleanor, ended up hiring Yelena. I thought she had contacted Valentina, and Valentina then sent Yelena. But given the fact in episode 4 how she, Eleanor wanted to keep Kate safe, how she has Yelena's number and contact, I don't know. Maybe Yelena and Valentina are like whatever. I don't know. We're gonna find out, I guess. Hopefully in the season finale of Hawkeye, or in Hawkeye season 2. If there is a season Hawkeye 2 or in other projects, because I am here. And there we have it, because, we find out that Yelena is actually following Eleanor in New York. And then somehow, some way, goes up with her meeting, kind of a la Spider-Man kind of, and takes a picture of Eleanor meeting Kingpin. And that's how we get introduced. And that's the end of the scene. It's so good. So good. So good. I'm enjoying this. It was that slow burn, but now we are just burning hot. We are going into next week's episode on fuego. And then, like I said, we have Spider-Man tomorrow and the 17th opening up. So it's going to be dope, dope, dope. I can't wait. By far, and I said this to someone, I have WandaVision, my top show. Loki was my top show. This is just right there with Loki. It's 1A, 1B with Loki and Hawkeye right now. The way these two have been, the script, the score, the acting, just the pace that it's setting, the way the whole thing, just brilliant. My hat's off to everyone involved in these Disney Plus shows, and especially in this Hawkeye, Loki, and WandaVision. And yes, I know I'm leaving out Falcon and the Winter Soldier, but honestly, that's my least one. Kind of a spoiler, kind of a prelude. So if you listen to this podcast, to this episode, you will know when I do my top, Disney shows and whatnot, what's going to be the order. I kind of spoiled it for myself, but hey, I'm excited. Call me, a fanboy, because this episode gave me the giddies. So anyways, enjoyed it. I know you guys will too. Let me know down in the comments. What did you like about this show? What was your favorite part? Were you just as shook as I was? Even though we kind of had a hint of Kingpin coming up earlier in the series, but did you guys see Eleanor being a somewhat of a villain? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. And like always, that's a wrap.